Hi everyone, my name is Rizky Ansar and I am currently pursuing my study at a university in Jakarta. As part of my academic assignment, I have been tasked with providing an analytical perspective on our newly elected president Prabowo Subianto. I invite you to engage with this discussion and let's begin sharing our perspective. So for the recap, in October 2024, Indonesia welcomed President Prabowo as its eighth president with a background as a former general and defense minister. This marked his first time leading the country. His military experience influenced his leadership, especially in areas like national security and defense. And also for the cabinet formation, President Prabowo formed a large cabinet with 48 ministers and 55 deputy ministers, aiming to unite various political groups. This approach seeks to ensure stability and collaboration across different parties. However, some critics express concern about the potential compromise affecting public interest. In the early days of his presidency, Prabowo made decisive move by forming a cabinet that reflected a wide-ranging political consolidation. Rather than adopting an adversarial stance, he extended his hand even to former political rivals. This inclusive approach aimed to foster national unity and reinforce the legitimacy of his government through cross-party collaboration. However, not all observers view this strategy without skepticism. Political analysts raise concern that such accommodation could blur the line between public interest and political compromise. In response to such concern, emphasis was placed on ensuring that public office appointments adhere principle of merit, professionalism, and integrity. And also for the policies focus, the president emphasized achieving food self-sufficiency and modernizing agriculture. He also supported the development of the new capital city Nusantara, viewing it as a symbol of Indonesian future. Challenges such as funding and infrastructure readiness remain, requiring effective coordination and resource. For the addressing corruption in early action, within his first 100 days in office, President Prabowo administration took bold steps in addressing corruption, long a thorn in Indonesian institutional fabric. The Attorney General Office launched investigation into over 400 corruption cases, including high-profile incidents such as the Tapalma Group scandal, which led to seizure of assets worth trillions of rupiah. The fight against graft extended further. The president issued direct instruction to tackle illegal licensing schemes that drain state resources and obstruct development. At the local level, corruption cases involving regional water utilities and village financial mismanagement were also brought to the light. This swift action reflected a clear signal: corruption in all its forms would not be tolerated. Okay. Ongoing to scrutiny, despite the promised beginning, Prabowo presidency continued to face scrutiny, particularly regarding his past association with human rights controversies. Although never legally proven, the allegation persists as sensitive issue, serving as litmus test for his current and future commitment to democratic value and human rights. For his administration to earn the trust of all Indonesians, transparency, accountability, and safeguarding of civil liberty must not only be principle on paper, they must be lived through action and policy. So, for the conclusion, President Prabowo leadership arrived at a strategic moment in Indonesian national journey. His early initiative, particularly in corruption eradication and infrastructure continuity, show promise. However, true success will be measured not by ambition alone, but by consistent policy execution, institutional integrity, and trust earned from the public. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching. Okay, for the part 2, I will present and explain for topic simple present. Definition of simple present is used to describe habits, general thought, repeated action, and fixed arrangement. Okay, for the structure, positive sentence is subject plus base verb and plus s or es for he, she, and it. For the example, I ate breakfast at 7 a.m. And second example is she works at a bank. Okay, the next structure is negative sentence is subject plus do or does not plus base verb. For the example, I do not like coffee. The second example is he does not play football. The next structure for the aggregative or question is do or does plus subject plus base verb. For the example, do you speak English? Does he live in Paris? Okay, for the usage one, for habits, the simple present is used to talk about habits. For the example, he goes to the gym every day. The second example, I brush my teeth twice a day. For the usage two, in general truth, use the express general fact and truth. For the example, the sun rises in the east. The second example, water boil at 100 Celsius. For the time expression, common time expression with simple present, we have 6 points. For point one, it's always, usually, often, sometimes, never, every day, or all week. Okay. This is spelling for verbs. If the subject, I, you, we, or they. For the positive is verb 1. For the negative is do not plus verb 1. For the aggregative is do plus subject plus verb 1. Okay. If the subject he, she, or it, for the positive is verb plus s or es, and for the negative is does not plus verb 1, and for the aggregative is does plus subject plus verb 1. Okay. And for the summary, for the simple present tense, we have 3 points. The first is talk about routines and fact. The second has different from the form for he, she, or it. The third use do or does in negative and question. Okay, I think it's enough for me for recap or explain the simple present. Thank you very much and thank you for watching.